this is Shamika, and that's my husband Ishti, and our cat Rinky. She is very upset that she was brought in front of the screen, but hopefully you get to see her for a little longer today before she starts squirming and, before she wants to make a disappearance.
Yeah, she wants to go.
Yeah, right. She wants to go. Okay, but that was it. Hopefully she will come back and make another reappearance. The hope is there. But for now, I will turn towards Ishti and say hi. How is your Sunday going?
It's pretty good, can't complain, playing some video games and getting ready for this show, Career Cats. Today I want to talk about a couple of things. First, why is it important for you to have a website? Doesn't matter if you're an accountant, a developer, a data analytics person. Pretty much everyone needs a website these days because of lots of different reasons that we will discuss. And second thing that I would like to discuss is how to position yourself as a candidate so that you get more callbacks, because it's becoming increasingly common to send out 100, 500 applications and not landing a single interview. It just feels like you're sending out your job applications into the void. So I'm gonna talk about a few ways you can get a response from the void. That's not just your own echo.
Okay.
If that makes sense. What about yourself?
So today, after Ishti is done with his portion of the conversation, I'm going to talk about research and teaching within academia. These two seem to be or are the two most important aspects within academia, and I wanted to discuss that a bit more. And more specifically, I wanted to talk about how you could keep an active research profile when you are in a teaching intensive role. So I'll offer more details when we kind of delve deep into the topic a bit more, but that's kind of what I want to discuss. How do you navigate research when, let's say, 80% of your time is dedicated towards teaching, or it's a very teaching demanding job. So that's going to be sort of my topic for today.
Sounds great. So yeah, let me start off with why it's important to have a website. Because first of all, in the pre-AI era, not everyone was expected to have a website unless you're a developer or a web developer and you use your website itself as a portfolio. Mm-hmm. So that's the norm, right? But now, because of AI, it's so easy to generate websites. If you don't have one, now it signals antiquity, as if you're someone from a previous bygone era who's struggling to keep up with the modern world. Because there's so many tools, Porky Coder being one of them, that helps you build a website just by chatting in English. So you just feed it, let's say, your portfolio images, your GitHub profile repo links, or if you're a videographer, then a couple of videos, YouTube links, whichever. Because the thing with LinkedIn is it's designed to benefit LinkedIn, not to highlight you as a candidate. Because imagine you're a designer or a programmer or a data analytics person. Those are not as explicitly highlighted in your profile. It's more about your job history. It's more about your display picture and your banner, a lot of other things. It doesn't really communicate effectively. Sure, you could put your graphics, your video reel, or your Git repo on the featured section, but still doesn't really beat the website. Because in a website, you can have embedded versions of your projects that take up a lot more real estate on a screen, and a potential recruiter and a hiring manager can just scroll through stuff that you have built. And also a lot of the times there are non-technical people who will screen you first before you get to the technical manager. So for them, they can't read code, right? So they will look at signals like your GitHub's repo stars, your places that you have worked with, or if you have fancy brands like Harvard or Stanford in your resume. I don't have those fancy brands. I didn't even go to a Canadian university. I went to an Australian university named Monash, and I studied communications. So when I go for AI engineer roles, the only signal I have is XAI, which is great. It shows up on LinkedIn. But I also need to be able to showcase that what I'm capable of building. And for that, a website is really useful. So I have my own website, ishti.dev. It has all the products that I've built, so you can link through and use those products. LinkedIn doesn't really like it when you link back to your own products or portfolio. They want to keep everything within LinkedIn, right? Makes sense. Every social media does. So this is why when you have a website, you're signaling multiple things. One, you're signaling that I can leverage AI to build websites or build company assets really quickly.
Yeah.
I can effectively market myself, and even though I don't write code by hand, I can leverage AI to build simple web apps, simple websites as needed, which is a very in-demand skill, especially new roles that crop up like GTM, marketing engineer. And you might be wondering, what the hell is a marketing engineer? Well, it's someone who does things like this: build web apps, build websites, build tools. So if you can build a web app to showcase your own, let's say, graphics design portfolio, you can probably design a website to showcase a product portfolio, or build a pipeline using tools like Gumloop or Nathan for automated marketing workflows and email and such. So we're in a show don't tell era. Like, if you can show what you have built, and it starts with your own portfolio. Yeah.
And that's also interesting because let's say when you have sort of spaces and platforms like X/Twitter, over there you only have a minimal number of words that you can write describing your new project or your new work, whatever that might be, or any form of artifact. So that doesn't really give you the space to talk about your project in detail, or to talk about maybe your new creation or your new invention in the kind of comprehensive detail that you would like. But on your website, you are at full liberty to kind of design the website in your own way, like you said, leveraging AI in order to do so, and you also have full control over how you want to frame the wording of what you do, and what kind of font you want to choose, as well as what the backdrop is going to be. So you really have that chance to kind of play around and see what works for you, and it also allows you to showcase some part of your creativity as well, whereby you are using your skills to kind of build your website in a way that works for you. And on top of that, you're able to then talk about your projects in a lot more detail, and try to have these different sections, and then you can come back to it because it's a living document. It's an iterative process where you kind of go back and you revise or you edit, or if there's something new that has happened, you can kind of go back to your website and then add that information as well. And when you make that website public, people are able to then access it. Or if you place the link on, let's say, your CV, your resume, or even on LinkedIn or any other platforms that you use, in order for people to then know that this is your website, then that will also give, or increase your chances for recruiters to then take a look at your website and get to know you, maybe in a bit more of a deeper level, and also with a bit more dimensionality. It might actually set you apart having your own website.
100%. And another thing that you touched upon, I would like to stretch that a bit more, which is posting on social media is ephemeral. It lives on people's timelines for a little while, and then it gets taken over by something else. But if you have a website and you put it as a pinned post on your Twitter, and or put the website link in your bio on your Twitter profile, on your Instagram, on your LinkedIn, it drives traffic, high quality traffic, towards showcasing things that you have built. A single post, short-lived, gets a lot of eyes on it, but then it gets lost in the stream of your newsfeed, right?
And other posts.
And other posts, yeah. So having a link that always highlights stuff that you have built, stuff that you're capable of, it's gold, because it's always getting eyes on the right things that you want people to look at. So it's not ephemeral, it's something solid that kind of pays for itself, really, like, because if you have a strong proof of concept, let's say you have built a product, or you have designed a graphic that was used by a major brand, or you have built a product that's being used by thousands of people, and you're able to communicate that effectively. Like for startups, for example, there's something called Trust MRR, where you actually show monthly recurring revenue. There's no way to spoof it, and you can actually get that code embedded onto your own homepage so that people know, okay, this guy's legit. He's built things that actually make money. So stuff like that, right? There's no way you can highlight that in LinkedIn, in a LinkedIn post, as well as you would be able to do in your own website. Now that we've touched upon that quite, I would like to let's talk about your pointers on how to do research in a teaching intensive university.
Absolutely. So we're kind of going on a different tangent here, but it's still linked to career, jobs, ways in which you can boost your profile and make it more enriching. So I think that commonality is definitely there. So I wanted to talk about my lived experience as being an instructor in a teaching intensive university. So I joined Capilano University as a full-time instructor in the fall of 2024, so that would be September 2024 onward. So I've been at Capilano for almost 2 years. It'll be about 2 years around August 2026. So Capilano University is a teaching intensive university, which is different from research intensive institutions and universities. So just to kind of go through the difference a bit, a teaching intensive university focuses more on the teaching. I guess it kind of speaks for itself in that way. That is where you have a lot more focus on pedagogical styles, effective teaching methods. There's a teaching, like a center of teaching excellence, at least at Capilano University, where you can work together with educators to talk about your course and to showcase what course outlines you've prepared, what your syllabi looks like, and how to navigate a classroom space, which is usually a very, very diverse space in of itself, not only because there are people and students from all over the world with many different forms of variegated lived realities, but also each classroom has a different vibe, each classroom brings in a different form of energy, and it also depends on the program that people are in and the way in which they connect to, let's say, what's being taught. So I was teaching English, I'm currently also teaching English, and a lot of different students would relate to, let's say, literature, literary topics, as well as cinematic texts and different conversations around literature globally, as well as Canadian literature in different ways. So it was interesting to see kind of that differentiating ways in which students would relate to each text and sort of their opinions on it. So the diversity within a classroom is, it can go on forever. So there's like lots of different layers and lots of different aspects. So a Center for Teaching Excellence would kind of help you navigate that and how you'd want to kind of show up as an instructor. At Capilano University, there's also students, like I think it's a max cap of about 30 students in some classes and maybe 20 in others, so you also have that personalized sort of attention that you're able to give. So those would be some of the factors of a teaching intensive university, where the focus is a bit more on how to go about navigating the teaching space. In a research intensive university, of course, the teaching and pedagogical framework is there, but then there's also an emphasis on research as well, producing new work, engaging in cutting-edge research, groundbreaking topics and subject matters, and also, creating sort of research archives, coming up with new research methods, having a repository of publications. So there's also an emphasis on research and then applying for research grants as well, and collaborating with other colleagues in order to engage in research. So those are some of the aspects of a research-intensive university. If let's say you are working as an instructor in a teaching focused institution, usually you will be teaching 4 courses, sometimes 3, but mostly 4 courses per semester. That is quite a lot. That's a significant number of courses because you're not only teaching, you're also preparing content, you are preparing sort of the teaching materials for each class to ensure that you're able to bring in an energy that aligns with that classroom space. You're holding office hours, you're marking, you are attending to any student-related questions or queries that are there. And then there's also other back-end work and administrative work that also goes into it. And you're also engaging in maybe evidence-based empirical research on new pedagogical frameworks that you can then implement and apply within your classroom space. And so there's quite a bit that goes in when you are teaching. And when you have 4 courses, that just kind of, gives you an idea of how the workload is. And
it can get pretty overwhelming.
It can, yes.
But you still managed to do research while you were teaching full-time. So how did you swing that?
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was I already knew that 70% of my time would be dedicated to teaching, but I also want to keep an active research portfolio because I love research, I enjoy it, and it allows me to really connect deeply with a topic or subject matter that I'm interested in. So what I would do is I would try to have time blocks or time chunks, and I would kind of try to see every week what my teaching load would look like. So yes, there is a significant amount of teaching and teaching related work that goes in every week, but I'm like, okay, is there a week where I can maybe hold back on some of my teaching load for this week? So if there's student presentations or group presentations, or if we are doing a viewing, in-class viewing of a film, or if there's an in-class activity that students are engaging in and they have the time block to do that. So if there is that time, then could I use it, if I can buy more time, if it saves up more time, would I be able to then utilize it for my research? So that's kind of what I do before the start of every semester. I make a bit of a rough plan for the 4 months. I try to see where I can kind of squeeze in, for lack of a better word, incorporate some hours of research. So for instance, if I'm teaching from Monday to Thursday, I would know that I won't be able to dedicate longer hours towards my research. So then I try to see whether I'd be able to dedicate a portion of my office hours towards research. So if I'm attending to student queries and concerns for, let's say, the first hour of a 2-hour office hour, then would I be able to dedicate the last hour towards research? And now that could be reading, that could be examining texts, that could be writing a reflection, or even writing a paragraph. So that's kind of what I try to look at. And if I'm teaching from Monday to Thursday, then I have the Friday off, then that gives me a significant amount of time to maybe produce the results that I want from my research. This is really good ginger teas. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I could use some.
Yeah.
But please don't let me interrupt.
No, it's all good. Just grab your ginger tea on a day like Friday when you're not teaching, and then you can then make a plan of how you want to utilize that day. The end of the week also, the end of the week weekday week, where you can then engage in research and have something produced. And another thing, this is kind of circling back to our first video, but always make sure, please, and when I say always make sure, I'm also talking to myself, not only the person in front of me, but one thing that has helped me is that try to take it bit by bit. So if you, let's say, have a research deadline, for instance, you need to submit a paper by the end of a particular month, usually maybe December, for instance, December 20th, that's just a hypothetical date. And your paper got accepted, and these are the changes that you want to make. So give yourself enough time, because if you start around September, and I know it seems like there's like 4 months left, but if you do try to get into maybe a little bit of a habit to try to even work on it a bit, then that will then add up. And then by the end of the semester, you'll see that a good amount of the work for your research paper has already been done, and it will be less overwhelming for you that way. So do take it in bits. Make a plan. That plan might change, so there's always that in mind. And when things don't work out, there's always, you know, a plan B or a plan C. But do keep that momentum every week, and it might look different in certain week, like let's say week 1 might be very different from, let's say, week 13, because you're already probably a little bit tired, exhausted, maybe burnt out. So those are maybe just some things to kind of think about, that hey, life might get in the way. So maybe 1 week of research might be a little less, or a little less significantly done than some of the subsequent weeks. But that is okay. You are still being consistent, and try to see if you can find time, squeeze time in between maybe your classes, or if you are at your workplace all day, then is there a time frame that you can dedicate to research? That way you're also not thinking about teaching throughout the entirety of an 8-hour day. So it also gives you it gives your brain a chance to kind of pivot and shift a little bit, and and then you'll have like all these other things going on as well that you like. So yeah, that's how I would usually go about approaching my research when I have a full course load.
It just goes to show, like, it's all about the will to find and make time. If you really want it bad enough, you'll find time to do it. Like, I knew a really jacked CEO once, and since he's like the head of the company that is 10,000 people in size, and so he doesn't really have a regular 9 to 5. His hours are insane. He's working pretty much every waking moment, but he's still extremely shredded. And I asked him, and this is a guy who runs one of the biggest real estate entertainment companies in Bangladesh, and then I asked him, they run the biggest Cineplex in Bangladesh. They run the biggest real estate business, plot land business in Bangladesh, and they're basically a conglomerate. And I asked this guy, how do you maintain, you know, your physique with a demanding job and so many 10,000 plus employees? And this is what he said, is like, because I find time either super early in the morning or in the middle of the day. I'll take a 31-hour break. You only need to go to the gym for 30 minutes every day consistently to get serious results. And that's what it is. It's consistency. Even if it's 30 minutes per day, if you do it, if you religiously find time to do it every single day, it adds up. You'll be surprised by how much you can accomplish at the end of a year if you put in 30 minutes every day. 30 minutes consistently, 365 days a year is a lot. Don't underestimate the power of consistent effort compounding over time.
Right.
It sounds cliche, but I was myself blown away, like, because I would do the same thing while having a full-time job. I'll try to build a Resume Hub or Porky Coder, 30 minutes, 1 hour per day. And by the end of the day, I've built a pretty complex product like Porky Coder, which is an IDE that also lets you publish websites from within the ecosystem. You can also buy domains within the ecosystem. So it's not a simple thing to build. And a lot of people, when they see it, they're like, bro, I can't believe you built an IDE from scratch. Who hurt you? IDE is an integrated development environment for those who are non-technical. But yeah,
Very inspiring.
it's a pretty complex piece of software. But yeah, just goes to show what you just said. If you want to do something bad enough, you'll find a way to do it. Now I want to talk about the second subject that I mentioned at the beginning of our episode, which is how to position yourself as a candidate. So if you're applying to 100 plus jobs, not landing an interview, it's probably there's something wrong with positioning. So positioning here is a marketing term. Let's say you're selling a premium brand of shampoo. You want to position yourself next to L'Oreal, next to, let's say, Kerastas or some other Pantene fancy. Pantene is not a fancy brand though, right?
I mean, it's
it's
a
a generic.
well-known
But
brand.
that's the idea. Like if you want to sell a luxury watch, you want to position yourself next to Rolex, not next to Swatch, right? So that's what you have to nail. What your mark, like if you're a data analytics professional, for example, data analytics on its own is not enough. You need to find a specific niche so that you're not competing with a fresh graduate with a data analytics master's degree or a data analytics undergrad. Like what makes you special? What makes you different from 300 other people who graduated, did their undergrad in data analytics, or it's becoming a popular subject? As I was saying before I got rudely interrupted
By who?
by the battery.
Yeah, yeah. There was a battery issue.
We're
but-
gonna cut this part, so cut! So one story that illustrates this positioning yourself as the right candidate would be this from this show called Kim's Convenience, where the main protagonist's parents ask her to find a nice Christian Korean boy from the neighborhood. So finding a nice guy, probably not so hard. Nice Korean guy narrows your candidate pool quite a bit. Nice Korean Christian guys even further. Nice Korean Christian boy from the neighborhood. There's only one guy, right? Or five guys maybe. So that's what you want to do when you're positioning yourself as a candidate. So data analytics person who can write SQL, dime a dozen. Then data analytics person who can write SQL but has banking experience, suddenly you're niche. Data analytics person with banking experience and specialization in credit card and retail transactions, now you're like a very viable candidate. You're definitely going to get a call back for that one, even without a reference. Because the narrower you go, I know there's a popular saying you don't need to meet every qualification to apply for a job. That's true. You don't need anything to apply. But in order to apply and get a call back, you need to meet as many as possible. So if you have, let's say, 5 years supply chain experience and you got laid off, I would advise you to go learn SQL, learn Power BI. Because anyone can pick up SQL or Power BI within 3 months, 1 month even. But 5 year of supply chain experience, that's not something you can pick up just like that. Because what they teach in schools about supply chain is wildly different from supply chain in the real world, because it will differ which industry you're in. Are you in supply chain for mobile parts or car parts? Because those two are wildly different, right? So you can't acquire those skills in a month or in a couple of weeks like you can with SQL and Power BI. So leverage your background, but add some tech, layer it on top, and suddenly you're a very sought after niche candidate that everybody wants a piece of. So that's the advice from earlier, or rather not advice, but more of a insight that I have found out the hard way while I was unemployed, 6 months at a time. I would just apply data analytics role, no bites, and then I would apply data analytics with marketing experience, like digital marketing, Google Ads, Meta Ads experience, and suddenly I would start getting more and more callbacks. So it's not all about how you position yourself, but at least 50%, I would say. If your call rates are really bad, like 100 applications, no callbacks, this is something you might want to try.
And I'm also guessing here, correct me if I'm wrong, but in any field, if you're able to show something new that you bring to the table, whether it's a new idea or new research or some research questions, I'm talking specifically in relation to my field, then that also makes you a more viable candidate, somebody who people would want to also work with because your subject matter is topical, or you have an additional expertise or something new to like bring to sort of the field and the sphere.
100%. This is true for software engineering as well. Like there was a joke about making to-do list apps because that was every software engineer fresh out of school would make a to-do list app. So if you can go beyond that, do something like my nephew who got hired for Meta recently. He's an Android engineer at Meta, and he got hired because he built an app that would enable two people who want to meet. So let's say I live in east side of town, you live in west side. So it's unfair for me to tell you to come all the way to my side of town and vice versa.
Right.
But let's say this app lets you find a middle ground, a literal middle ground that is equal distance from both your house and my house, and we meet there. So it's fair for everyone involved. Now you might think like, oh, this is so niche. Who's going to use it? 5,000 people downloaded and used it, and he landed a job amidst all this. AI is taking all the jobs, AI generated layoffs and all that stuff. And amidst all this AI hysteria and panic, he still got hired, and as a software engineer, one of the jobs that people say is already solved. So don't despair because of the AI hype. People are still getting hired, people who know how to position themselves properly, and people who know how to effectively showcase their abilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is also true for academia as well. So in your cover letter, what you really want to bring out are some qualities as well as traits, but also achievements that set you apart from not necessarily the rest of the candidate, but that really, really kind of, makes you a very strong candidate. So let's say something like being able to produce research and having evidence while you're also teaching, let's say, a full course load, or engaging in community work, or having sort of community driven results while you're also teaching. What I'm trying to say here is that make sure that there is something additional that sets you apart, that makes you unique, or even if it's a research idea or a topic that will be something which a supervisor would like to really work with you on. So that's also something to kind of think about, because you might be a brilliant person with amazing qualifications and all of these accomplishments and achievements, but it is also important to position yourself in that way too. So with your cover letter, maybe have people who are there to support you, to read your cover letter, or a mentor who can give you advice and proper feedback and needs-based feedback that will help you to strengthen your letter and make sure that your positioning is also strong. So those are things that can really, really help you or make it easier or facilitate sort of the job market process for you, as well as for you to land more interviews as well. Okay, so that was it from us for today. If you have any questions, or if you want us to focus on a particular topic, then please do let us know in the comment section below. And if our videos are making you feel good or are useful to you in any way, please do leave a like, share, comment, and also subscription would be great. So please do subscribe to our channel.